Welcome back to Grace Notes.
Mm.
Today we're going to kind of jump into something I find pretty fascinating.
Right.
It's this kind of unexpected connection between Christianity and the history of science.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got this great YouTube video from Cold Case Christianity.
Okay.
And J. Warner Wallace, the host, he really kind of digs into the historical evidence,
Yeah.
and makes this compelling case for how a Christian worldview really shaped science.
I think it's something that gets misrepresented a lot.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Especially like online.
Yeah.
There's this idea that Christianity held science back.
It's almost like a default assumption for some people. Like, I've lost count of how many times I've heard that quote, like, we would be 1,500 years ahead if it hadn't been for the church dragging science back by its coattails.
Yeah.
And, burning our best minds at the stake.
Right.
But is that really the whole story?
Right.
That's what we're going to explore.
That's where J. Warner Wallace comes in. He tackles this misconception head on.
Okay.
And he uses this 4,000-year timeline of scientific development
Wow.
to demonstrate Christianity's positive influence.
Okay.
And what's really striking is he highlights these noticeable jumps in scientific progress
Okay.
that coincide with key events in Christian history.
Those bumps on the timeline, those definitely caught my attention.
Yeah.
Can you give me some specific examples?
Well, one of the first ones he points out is around the time of the Edicts of Milan
Okay.
and Thessalonica.
Okay.
And these edicts basically lifted restrictions on Christian thought and practice.
Right.
And what happens?
Right.
We see a surge in scientific activity.
So just giving space for Christian ideas to flourish
Right.
had a direct impact.
It seems that way, right?
That's interesting.
It's a compelling correlation.
Yeah.
Another bump that emerges is with the rise of monasteries and cathedral schools in the early Middle Ages.
Okay.
These institutions were crucial for preserving knowledge
Yeah.
and fostering learning.
You can almost imagine them as the guardians of ancient wisdom, diligently copying and translating texts,
Yeah.
even from cultures they didn't agree with.
It's almost counterintuitive if you think about it.
Right.
The common narrative.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't suppressing knowledge.
Right.
They were protecting and nurturing it.
Exactly. Without their dedication, we might have lost so much of the scientific and philosophical work from ancient Greece and Rome,
Oh, wow.
and even Muslim scholars.
That's right. He talks about
Right,
that.
yeah.
How they were major players.
Yeah, from like the 6th to the 13th centuries.
Yeah.
But then there's this decline in their scientific activity.
Yes.
And he suggests that that decline was linked to theological shifts within Islam,
Interesting.
highlighting how theological ideas can, even within the same faith,
Yeah.
influence the pursuit of knowledge.
It's a good reminder that it's complex,
Absolutely.
the relationship
About
between
how-
faith and science.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to those bumps on the timeline.
What comes after the monasteries?
Well, we can't talk about the rise of science without talking about the rise of universities. Right?
Yeah.
He highlights the establishment of the first universities, Bologna, Paris, and Oxford,
You.
all with strong Christian roots.
Wow.
And these weren't just schools.
Yeah.
These were vibrant centers of scholarship.
It's mind-blowing to think about the ripple effect of those 3 universities
I know.
becoming models for others
Right.
and shaping the modern university system we have today.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Then, of course, we have the invention of the printing press in the 15th century.
Yes.
Another game changer.
Another game changer.
Originating in the Christian world.
The printing press really was like the internet of its time,
Totally.
democratizing access to information
Right.
and accelerating the spread of knowledge. I can only imagine how much it boosted scientific discovery,
Absolutely.
collaboration, all that.
For sure.
Wow. And then soon after, we see the bump associated with the Protestant Reformation. Yes. He even points out the high concentration of Protestant scientists during the scientific revolution.
Yeah.
So we're seeing these intriguing correlations between these key events in Christian history and bursts of scientific activity. But the bigger question is, why?
Yes.
Why did Christianity seem to act as a catalyst?
Right. That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And that's where the video gets really interesting.
Okay.
It moves beyond just pointing out the correlations.
Okay.
And delves into the underlying reasons
Okay.
why a Christian worldview might have fostered such fertile ground for scientific inquiry.
All right. I'm all ears. Let's unpack this why.
One key factor is the Christian perspective on the material world.
Okay.
Many ancient cultures, particularly those influenced by Gnosticism,
Right.
which is a belief system that viewed the material world as flawed or illusory,
Okay.
they didn't see much value in studying the natural world.
Right.
But Christians saw things differently.
Okay.
They believed that the material world was God's creation, something good,
Okay.
worthy of study.
So instead of dismissing the physical world
Right?
as something to be escaped,
Right.
they saw it as something to be explored
Exactly.
and understood.
Their theological beliefs gave them a framework for engaging with the material world,
Yeah.
for rolling up their sleeves and
Yeah.
investigating it.
It seems like this shift in perspective
Yeah.
from seeing the world as flawed
Right.
to seeing it as this divine creation
Right.
really had an impact
Absolutely.
on how people approach science.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this new perspective was further reinforced by their understanding of God.
Okay.
Unlike the unpredictable, often capricious nature of the pagan gods,
Right.
Christians believe in a single logical God,
Right.
a God of order and reason.
Huh?
This belief led to the idea of an orderly universe,
Right.
governed by discoverable laws.
So instead of thinking that lightning was caused by an angry Zeus,
Right.
they could start to investigate the natural processes behind it
Yeah.
and look for those underlying laws that govern the physical world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's another crucial element here.
Okay.
The Christian belief that God is distinct from his creation,
Okay.
that he's not simply part of nature, but the creator of nature.
Right.
This allowed for the objective study of natural phenomena.
Okay.
It meant that scientists could study the world without attributing every event to divine whims.
Right.
They could look for patterns, causes, and effects within the natural order itself.
It's like their theology provided them with a set of tools
Yes,
for scientific investigation,
exactly.
encouraging them to look for order and reason within God's creation.
Exactly. And this wasn't just some abstract theological concept.
Yeah.
This played out in the lives of many Christian scientists.
Right.
Think about Johannes Kepler,
Yes.
a key figure in the scientific revolution,
Yes.
who famously said that he was thinking God's thoughts after him.
I love that quote.
Yeah.
So for him, studying the laws of planetary motion wasn't just a scientific pursuit. It was an act of worship,
Beautiful way to put it.
an attempt to understand the mind of the Creator.
And that was a common idea
Yeah.
among early Christian scientists.
Yeah.
They believed that by understanding the natural world,
Uh-huh.
they were getting a glimpse into the mind of God.
This is making me think about how important our motivations are
Yeah,
when it comes to the pursuit of knowledge.
absolutely.
Like if we see science as a way to glorify God
Yes.
and understand His creation, it takes on a whole new level of meaning.
It changes everything.
Yeah.
It changes everything.
It really does.
And this brings us to another point that Wallace emphasizes, the concept of special revelation
Right.
and natural revelation.
Right.
Special revelation refers to the truths revealed through Scripture,
Okay.
while natural revelation refers to the truths we can learn by studying nature.
So for them, both Scripture and nature were ways of learning about God.
Yes.
Two complementary sources of truth that pointed to the same Creator.
Exactly. They didn't see these two forms of revelation as conflicting.
Right.
They saw them as working together, enriching each other.
Yeah.
This fostered a sense of awe and wonder at the natural world
Yeah.
and fueled their desire to understand it better.
It sounds like they had this beautiful balance between faith and reason,
Yes.
recognizing the limits of human knowledge,
Right.
but also embracing the joy of discovery and the pursuit of truth.
That's a great way to summarize it.
Yeah.
And this leads us to another point we touched on earlier,
Okay.
the Christian willingness to get their hands dirty.
Right.
This wasn't just about passively observing nature.
Right.
It was about actively interacting with it,
Yeah.
experimenting,
Yeah.
pushing the boundaries of knowledge.
And sometimes that meant challenging conventional wisdom,
Of course.
even if it made them unpopular.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about those early autopsies performed in monasteries.
Yes.
A practice that would have been taboo in many cultures, but which advanced anatomical understanding significantly.
Right.
They weren't afraid to ask difficult questions and challenge existing assumptions.
This is all so fascinating. Before we dive into more specific examples of Christian scientists and their contributions, I want to pause for a moment and remind our listeners about a fantastic resource, metrobc.us.
That's a great recommendation.
If you're enjoying this exploration of faith and reason, you'll definitely want to check out their website. They offer a treasure trove of thought-provoking content and resources.
It's a fantastic resource.
We'll be back in a moment to continue our deep dive into the often overlooked contributions of Christians to the world of science.
Looking forward to it.
Join us for our Sunday morning service every Sunday at 10 a.m. Watch live online or join us in person at Metropolitan Baptist Church, 7200 Davie Road Extension, Hollywood, Florida. Stay connected by downloading the Metropolitan Baptist app.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were discussing how the Christian worldview encouraged this hands-on approach to understanding God's creation.
Yes, and it really makes you wonder about the connections we often miss.
Yeah.
You know how theological beliefs can actually spur scientific discovery?
That's exactly what's so intriguing about this topic. To really highlight the impact of Christianity on science, Wallace uses a powerful visual in the video.
Okay.
A Hall of Fame for Christian scientists.
I love that.
Filled with busts representing individuals from various periods and disciplines.
Who are some of the people we might find in this Hall of Fame?
Well, he starts in antiquity, even before the official rise of Christianity, with individuals who laid the groundwork for later scientific advancements. Then he moves through the early Middle Ages, showcasing those who preserved knowledge and kept the flame of inquiry burning during those turbulent times.
Yeah, and I imagine as he gets to the Renaissance and the scientific revolution, that Hall of Fame starts getting pretty crowded.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the sheer number of Christian scientists who made groundbreaking contributions during those pivotal periods.
Yeah, it really challenges the common narrative, doesn't it?
It does.
The one that tries to separate faith from scientific progress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's as if their beliefs are treated as irrelevant to their scientific work. Which simply isn't true.
Yeah.
And to illustrate this point, Wallace delves into specific fields where Christians have made a significant impact.
Okay, this is where I get really excited.
Right.
What are some of the areas where their influence is most evident?
Well, we already talked about those early autopsies performed in monasteries, which were a testament to their willingness to push boundaries.
Yeah.
That's just one example of the crucial role Christians have played in medicine. They've been at the forefront of healing and caring for the sick. Throughout history, their compassion extends beyond just treating physical ailments. Think about all the Christian hospitals and organizations that provide care for the poor and marginalized.
Yeah. It's a beautiful embodiment of their faith.
Absolutely.
You know, putting love into action.
Yeah.
And even today, so much of our medical technology, from MRIs to life-saving surgeries, has roots in the work of Christian scientists.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And beyond medicine, we can't forget the world of technology. Christians have been pioneers in fields like electricity, electromagnetics, computer science.
It's incredible to think about how their work has shaped the world we live in.
I know.
Even the code writers who developed the early computer languages, many of them were Christians.
That's right.
It's amazing.
And it extends to engineering.
Yeah.
With all its incredible feats of construction and innovation.
Yeah.
Think about everyday things we take for granted. Cars, calendars, even agricultural advancements like beekeeping and animal husbandry.
It's amazing to see how their influence touches so many aspects of our lives.
It really does. And it goes even further. Innovations in aerospace technology, airplanes, parachutes, submarines.
Wow.
Even pharmaceuticals. Yes, even Viagra has roots in the work of Christian scientists.
Okay, that one I did not see coming. But it just goes to show how far-reaching their impact has been.
Exactly.
It really is incredible.
They haven't shied away from exploring and innovating. Driven by a curiosity that stems, at least in part, from their faith. They see the world as a gift, something to be cherished and understood.
It's as if their belief in a creator God instilled in them this desire to unlock the secrets of creation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to emphasize the sheer breadth of their contributions. Wallace points out the impressive number of prestigious scientific awards that Christians have won. We're talking about the Fields Medal, the Lasker Award, the Wolf Prize, the Turing Award, and of course the Nobel Prize.
These are the highest honors in the scientific world. And Christians seem to have outperformed every other group.
Well, in some cases, that's literally true. When he breaks down the demographics of Nobel Prize winners in the sciences, Christians make up the largest group by far.
Wow.
And it's not just historical figures.
Yeah.
Even today, many leading scientists are Christians.
That's amazing.
It really makes you question that stereotypical image of the atheist scientist.
It really does.
Now, remember earlier when we talked about reconstructing the story of Jesus from the writings of the early church fathers?
Yes, that was fascinating.
Well, Wallace makes this incredible argument that you could do the same thing using the writings of Christian scientists throughout history.
You're kidding. You mean there's enough material in their personal writings?
That's what he's suggesting.
To piece together an account of Jesus' life.
Yes, a remarkably detailed picture of Jesus from the writings of Christian scientists alone.
Wow, that's just mind-blowing.
It really is.
It really speaks to the depth of their faith and how it permeated their entire worldview, including their scientific endeavors.
Absolutely. Their faith wasn't compartmentalized.
Right.
It was integral to who they were and how they approached the world. And this leads to a thought-provoking question that Wallace poses.
Okay.
If we trust these scientists for their scientific discoveries, shouldn't we also consider what they had to say about Jesus?
That's a powerful challenge.
It is.
Why would we accept their scientific insights but dismiss their theological reflections?
Exactly.
It seems like such a double standard.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And to further emphasize the profound impact of Jesus, Wallace touches on his influence beyond the realm of science.
Okay.
Literature, art, music, education.
Wow.
Even other world religions.
It's truly humbling to consider the ripple effects of his life and teachings throughout history.
It speaks to the enduring power of his message and the transformative influence he's had on human civilization.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've been on quite a journey today.
We have.
Exploring this often overlooked connection between Christianity and the history of science.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
We've seen how a Christian worldview, with its emphasis on a logical God, a good and ordered creation, and the pursuit of knowledge as a way to glorify God, actually laid the groundwork for scientific exploration.
It's amazing.
It is. And we've encountered some truly remarkable individuals whose faith wasn't just a side note to their scientific work. It was a driving force behind their discoveries and their desire to understand the world around them.
It's inspiring.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the key takeaway for our listeners?
I think the most important takeaway is that the relationship between Christianity and science is not one of conflict, but one of complex interplay.
It's a story that's often been oversimplified.
It has.
Or even distorted to fit certain narratives.
Absolutely.
But when we dig into the historical evidence, a different picture emerges.
A much more interesting picture.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that faith and reason are somehow opposed to each other.
Yeah, you see that a lot.
But history tells a different story.
History tells a much more nuanced story.
Yeah. We've seen how Christian beliefs about God creation and the pursuit of knowledge actually fostered a spirit of scientific exploration, leading to countless breakthroughs across various disciplines.
It's really remarkable.
It is. And it's not just ancient history.
No.
Even today, there are many brilliant scientists who are also devout Christians, continuing this legacy of intellectual curiosity and a deep reverence for the world that God has created.
They're out there doing the work.
They are. They're living proof that faith and science are not mutually exclusive.
Exactly.
They can coexist.
And enhance each other.
And even enrich each other.
Absolutely.
So as we conclude this deep dive, I'd like to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question. How might our understanding of scientific history change if we acknowledge the faith of those who shaped it?
That's a great question.
What new insights might emerge if we viewed the history of science through a different lens? One that recognizes the integral role of faith in inspiring some of humanity's greatest intellectual achievements.
I think we'd be surprised.
Perhaps we discover a deeper appreciation for the ways in which faith and reason can work together to unlock the mysteries of the universe?
Absolutely.
And maybe we'd be inspired to approach our own pursuit of knowledge with a similar sense of wonder and a desire to glorify God through our discoveries.
It's an exciting possibility.
It really is. Well, thank you for joining us on this journey into the fascinating world of Christianity and science.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope it sparked your curiosity
and
inspired you to think more deeply about the connections we often miss.
It's been great exploring these ideas with you.
Thanks for listening to the Grace Notes podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to another Grace Notes episode. Drop a comment below and let us know what's your thoughts. Check the description for links to the reference sources and our full podcast playlist. Don't forget to like and share this episode. Help us in reaching people where they are and pointing them to Jesus, the living hope.